There is a kind of attractiveness you cannot fake, a presence you cannot borrow, a power you cannot buy. It's the kind that speaks without speaking, the kind built in silence, in your habits, in your decisions when nobody is watching. Today, I'm going to teach you the truth. People don't respect noise, they respect discipline. They don't follow talkers, they follow those who move with intention. And if you master the habits in this audiobook, you will become the person others notice without understanding why. Quietly magnetic, quietly powerful, silently unforgettable. Chapter 1. Stop announcing and start becoming. You need to hear this clearly, right at the beginning. Most people are loud because they're empty. Most people announce because they're insecure. Most people talk about their plans because they know they're not going to execute them. And here's the truth you're not used to hearing. Every time you announce a goal, you weaken it. Every time you announce a plan, you release the pressure that should have driven you. Every time you announce a move, you give away the power of surprise. This chapter is simple. This chapter is direct. This chapter is uncomfortable because the whole message can be summarized in one sentence. Stop announcing and start becoming. You have a choice. Every day you have a choice. You can keep explaining who you want to be, or you can quietly become the person nobody saw coming. That's the key. People trust what they see, not what they hear, not what you promise, not what you talk about at 2 a.m. when motivation hits. They trust patterns, they trust results, they trust repetition. When you overshare, you dilute the seriousness of your mission. When you tell everyone your next move, you start performing for them, not building for yourself. You don't need their permission. You don't need their applause. You don't need to narrate your transformation. In fact, the narration is what's slowing you down. Think about the people you know. Think about the coworker who announces every new goal. I'm starting a business. I'm launching a fitness routine. I'm learning a new skill. I'm becoming a new person. And 3 weeks later, they're the same habits, same excuses, same life. Their words are loud, but their follow-through is silent. Now think about the other person, the quiet one. One who says nothing, the one who simply delivers week after week, month after month, year after year. They're not loud because they don't need to be. They're not announcing because they're becoming. They're not explaining because their results explain for them. Who do people respect more? Who do they trust more? Who do they follow more? The answer is obvious, and it's the lesson you need. Become undeniable, not noisy. Here's the psychology behind it. Every time you talk about a goal, your brain releases dopamine. You feel as if you've already accomplished something, but you haven't. You've done nothing. You've only created the illusion of progress. Talking becomes the substitute for doing. And the more you talk, the less you follow through. This is why silent people build faster. This is why silent people become stronger. This is why silent people rise without broadcasting their climb. Your brain stays hungry when your mouth stays shut. You build pressure. You build urgency. You build self-respect because discipline is quiet. Consistency is quiet. Transformation is quiet. You want to be silently attractive. You want presence. You want to walk into a room and command respect without saying a word. Then this is where it starts. Stop proving. Stop explaining. Stop announcing. Instead, get to work. Let your consistency demonstrate what your words used to claim. Let your discipline speak where your mouth used to interfere. You have a choice. Every morning you have a choice. Will you announce your goals to strangers online, or will you wake up, close your mouth, and execute? You already know the answer. You already know which one builds power. Talking is easy. Becoming is hard. That's why becoming is respected. Here's the real-world shift you need to make starting today. One, say nothing until it's done. Not, I'm thinking of doing this. Not, I'm planning to start that. Not, I'm about to change my life. Just do it. Then reveal it when it's finished. 2, use your silence as a weapon, not to be mysterious, but to stay focused. Silence protects your energy. Silence protects your mission. Silence protects your momentum. 3, let people see the results, not the rehearsal. Nobody needs to watch your early steps. Nobody needs to hear your intentions. Nobody needs to be inside your process. They only need to see the outcome. Become undeniable, not noisy. Understand this. You don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't owe anyone a play-by-play of your growth. You don't owe anyone proof that you're improving. The only person who needs to know your plan is you. The only person who needs to stay committed is you. The only person responsible for becoming the next version of you is you. It's not about perfection, it's about discipline. It's not about saying the right things, it's about doing the right things. It's not about talking your way into respect. It's about earning it through quiet, repeatable action. Your life will change faster the moment your mouth slows down and your discipline speeds up. And when people finally notice because you won't need to say a word, your transformation will speak. Your aura will speak. Your consistency will speak. You will be silently attractive because you built yourself in silence. This chapter is your reset button, your reminder, your warning, and your opportunity. Stop announcing and start becoming. Stop narrating and start executing. Stop talking and start transforming. You have a choice. Today is the day you choose to become the quiet, disciplined, sharp version of yourself, the version that no longer performs for others. You don't need their permission, and you never did. From this moment on, you build in silence, you grow in silence, you rise in silence, and when the world finally sees the results, you'll know you earned every ounce of that respect. Become undeniable, not noisy. Now that you've learned the power of shutting down the noise and turning up the discipline, let's move deeper. You stopped announcing. Good. Now it's time to control the energy you carry into every room you enter. Chapter 2. Clean up your energy before you enter a room. Before you say a single word, you've already spoken. Before you open your mouth, people have already judged you. Before you sit down, they've already decided whether you're someone to respect, ignore, or avoid. Your energy arrives before you do. That's the truth, and most people never learn it. They walk into rooms unprepared, unfocused, uncentered, and then wonder why nobody listens, nobody remembers them, nobody is drawn to them. In silence, your energy becomes your voice. And if you want to be silently attractive, silently powerful, silently unforgettable, you must learn to clean up your energy before you enter a room. You have a choice. Every interaction is a choice. You can carry chaos with you, or you can carry control. That's the key. Let's be brutally honest. Most people are not reacting to what you say. They're reacting to your presence, your pace, your posture, your breathing, your internal state. You can say all the right things, but if your energy is frantic, needy, loud, scattered, or insecure, you've already lost. The room feels you before they hear you. That's why this chapter matters. Because attraction, real attraction, begins long before you open your mouth. It begins in the silent signals you send with your body and your emotional temperature. Think about the people who walk into a room and immediately change the atmosphere. They don't rush, they don't fidget, they don't talk first, they don't over-smile to win approval. They move slowly, they move intentionally, they move like they own themselves. They carry clean energy, undiluted, uncluttered, unbothered. They aren't perfect. They're disciplined. Remember that distinction. It's not about perfection, it's about discipline. You have a choice, and your discipline is what people feel first. Let's break down the 3 components of energy you must master. 1. Your body energy. Your body speaks louder than your words. Your posture is your presence. Your movements reveal your inner world. When you walk into a room, don't rush, don't look around for validation, don't shrink your posture, slow your steps. Lift your chest slightly. Let your shoulders settle. Breathe deeper and longer than usual. Why? Because slow movement signals power. Fast movement signals insecurity. People follow the person who looks like they're not in a hurry to be seen. They trust the one who seems comfortable in their own timing. You have a choice. Move with intention or move like you're chasing approval. To your mental energy, what you think becomes what you project. If you walk into a room thinking, do they like me? What do they think of me? Am I enough? Your energy will become needy. Your presence will become small. Your attractiveness will disappear. Instead, enter every room with one simple mindset. I am enough because I am disciplined. Not I'm perfect. Not I'm better than them. Just I am disciplined. Discipline is grounding. Discipline is stabilizing. Discipline is clean. A disciplined mind does not search for applause. A disciplined mind carries its own quiet confidence. That's the key. 3. Your emotional energy. Emotions leak. Even when you try to hide them. If you're irritated, people feel it. If you're anxious, people sense it. If you're insecure, people notice it. Your goal is not to suppress emotion. Your goal is to regulate it. A regulated person is attractive because they are predictable. They don't explode. They don't panic. They don't overreact. Their presence calms others. Think about it. You're drawn to people who feel stable, people who feel centered, people who feel in control of themselves. You can be that person if you choose discipline over emotional leakage. You have a choice. Let's talk about the real world for a second. Picture two people walking into a meeting. Person storms in. They're flustered. They're talking too fast. They're scrolling their phone. Their shoulders are tight. Their breathing is shallow. Nobody respects that. Nobody feels safe around that. Nobody is drawn to that. Now look at person B. They walk in slowly. They sit quietly. They breathe deeply. They look around with calm, grounded eyes. They don't rush to speak. They don't rush to be liked. People notice that person. People lean toward that person. People remember that person. Why? Because calm is power, and power is attractive. Your silent energy becomes your identity. Your silent energy creates your reputation. Your silent energy signals whether you control yourself or whether the world controls you. This is why cleaning your energy matters. Now let's talk about application. Practical daily habits that shift your energy from scattered to magnetic. 1. Pause before entering any room. 1 breath. 1 reset. 1 silent reminder. I choose control. 2. Slow your pace by 10%. Just 10%. It changes everything. People will feel your presence instead of your anxiety. 3. Unclench your hands and jaw. Tension looks weak. Relaxation looks confident. 4. Make your first look around the room calm and neutral, not searching, not scanning, just observing. 5. Speak after you've fully arrived emotionally. Not the moment you sit, not the moment you enter. Give your energy time to settle. These are not small habits. These are power habits. This is how you become the person who speaks without speaking. You have a choice. Choose control. Now hear this clearly. You do not need a perfect outfit, a perfect face, a perfect voice, or a perfect life to be attractive. You need clean energy. You need internal calm. You need self-ownership. People don't remember your outfit. They remember your presence. People don't remember your words. They remember how your energy made them feel. And when your energy is calm, grounded, steady, intentional, you become the quiet center of the room. You become the anchor. You become the person who turns heads without trying. Not because you're loud, not because you're charming, not because you're performing, but because you're in control of yourself. That's the key. And that's the beginning of silent attraction. Your presence begins before your voice. Your energy speaks before your words. Your emotional temperature becomes your social identity. So from today on, make this your rule. Clean your energy before you enter any room, not for them, for you, for your self-respect, for your discipline, for the life you're building. Because silently attractive people don't wait to be noticed, they simply carry themselves in a way that makes noticing automatic. And now that your energy is grounded, that your presence is controlled, that you understand the power of silent entrance, it's time to elevate your communication even further. You've mastered presence. Now you must master speech. Chapter 3, Speak less, say more. You talk too much. Not because you're annoying, not because you're wrong, but because you're afraid of silence. Most people are. Most people fill every gap with noise. They talk to explain themselves. They talk to be understood. They talk to avoid discomfort. They talk to feel important. But here's the truth you must learn if you want to be silently attractive, silently powerful, silently respected. The more you speak, the less weight your words carry. And the fewer words you use, the more impact each one has. This chapter is your turning point. This is where you learn the art that separates talkers from leaders, noise from presence, attention seekers from attention commanders. Speak less, say more. You have a choice. Every conversation is a choice. You can talk out of fear or speak out of power. That's the key. Think about someone you admire, someone who has presence, someone who doesn't need to raise their voice to be heard, someone who can say one sentence and shift the whole room. What do they do differently? They use silence as a tool. They use pauses. They use slowness. They speak with intention, not impulse. They don't rush. They don't ramble. They don't overexplore every thought in their head. They choose their words like someone choosing ammunition, carefully, deliberately, strategically. You have a choice to speak like that, too. Let's cut deeper. People who talk too much do so for one reason: insecurity. Insecurity makes you overshare. Insecurity makes you justify yourself. Insecurity makes you talk to fill the space you don't feel worthy of holding. But here's the shift you must embrace. Silence is confidence. Excess talking is insecurity. When you stop talking so much, something powerful happens. People start paying attention. People start wondering what you're thinking. People start respecting your voice because you don't give it away cheaply. And this is the core of silent attraction. When you speak less, your presence expands. When you speak less, your mystery grows. When you speak less, your value rises. You have a choice. Protect your words, protect your energy, protect your presence. Let's break down how speaking less transforms your social power. When you create curiosity, humans are wired to fill silence. When you don't immediately answer, when you take a breath before speaking, when you pause after someone finishes talking, people lean in. They want to know what you'll say next. They assume you're thinking deeply. They assume you're intentional. They assume your words matter. Silence is not empty. Silence is a message. Silence is a magnet. 2. You eliminate verbal weakness when you talk too much. You contradict yourself, you over-explain, you reveal insecurity, you soften your point, you give people too much access. But when you speak less, your message becomes sharp, your confidence becomes clear, your boundaries become visible, your authority becomes undeniable. People listen to clarity. People follow certainty. People respect brevity. Remember, it's not about being quiet, it's about being powerful. 3. You train your mind to think before speaking. Most people do the opposite. They speak to think. They dump raw thoughts into the world and hope they make sense. You're going to reverse that. You think first, then you speak. You speak only what matters. This simple switch increases your social intelligence instantly. People who think before speaking are rare. People who think before speaking are respected. People who think before speaking become leaders. You have a choice. Let silence guide your thoughts or let anxiety guide your mouth. Choose silence. Let's talk real-world examples. Picture 2 people in a meeting. Person A answers every question instantly. They talk non-stop. They rush. They interrupt. They try too hard. They fill every second with noise. Nobody sees them as confident. Nobody sees them as a leader. Their voice becomes background noise. Now picture person B. They listen. They wait. They take a breath before responding. When they speak, it's short and decisive. They may talk only 20% as much as person A, but they command 80% of the respect. Why? Because their silence gives their voice weight. Speak less. Say more. That's the key. Now let's talk about practical application, how you start transforming your communication today. 1. Slow your speaking pace. Just slow it by 15%. People will instantly feel more respect for you. Fast talk feels insecure. Slow talk feels confident. 2. Use the 3-second pause. Before answering a question, pause for 3 seconds. Think, then speak. This single habit will make people treat your words as more deliberate. 3. Stop explaining yourself. You do not owe long explanations. Say what's necessary. End the sentence. Let silence carry the rest. 4. Remove filler words. Like. These weaken your presence. Replace them with silence. Silence is stronger. 5. Don't reveal everything. Mystery is attraction. Boundaries are attraction. Selectivity is attraction. The less you reveal, the more people want to know. Here, as something most people never realize, when you talk less, you conserve energy. You stop stretching yourself thin. You stop draining your confidence. You stop broadcasting insecurity. Your silence becomes your armor. Your silence becomes your standard. Your silence becomes your signature. And this is where silent attractiveness truly begins. People who talk too much sound like everyone else. People who talk too much blend into the background. People who talk too much lose the social power they're desperate to gain. But the person who speaks with intention, the person who uses silence as punctuation, the person who doesn't rush to respond, that person becomes magnetic. You have a choice. You can stay a talker or you can become someone whose voice actually matters. Choose wisely. Let's end with this. You don't need more words. You need more discipline. It's not about being liked. It's about being grounded. It's not about talking. It's about impact. When you speak less, you say more. When you say more, people listen. When people listen, you become the one who influences the room without raising your voice. This is the foundation of silent attraction. And this is the standard you're going to carry from this day forward. You're no longer the person who talks out of fear. You're the person who speaks out of power. And now you're ready for the next level, the level where you learn how tiny behaviors shape massive impressions. You mastered speech. Now it's time to master micro-presence. Chapter 4, Master Micro-Control, EYES, hands and pace you want discipline. Start with the smallest battlefield you keep ignoring, your eyes, your hands, and your pace. People love talking about big goals. They love dreaming, they love fantasizing, but they have zero control over the basic mechanics of their own body. And that's the real reason they stay stuck. You think you need motivation, you think you need inspiration, you think you need the right environment. You don't. You need micro-control. That's the key. Listen carefully. Before you control your day, you must control your moment. Before you control your life, you must control your movements. Before you control your outcomes, you must control your focus. It all begins with micro-control. One, control your eyes. Your eyes are the steering wheel of your discipline. Where your eyes go, your mind follows. Where your mind goes, your actions follow. Most people let their eyes wander. They scroll, they dart, they drift. They stay in constant visual chaos, and then they wonder why their mind feels scattered. But you have a choice. When you walk into a room, decide what your eyes land on. When you sit down to work, decide what your eyes will not look at. When someone tries to distract you, decide where your attention goes. You don't need their permission, you need your discipline. Stop letting everything pull your attention. Stop letting every notification steal seconds from your life. Stop letting every movement in the room dominate your focus. You want power, train your eyes. Here's the rule: where you look is where your life grows. Where you avoid looking is where your discipline dies. Start practicing controlled gaze, not staring, not zoning out, just intentional direction. This alone will change your productivity, your anxiety, your energy, and your self-respect. Because nothing builds confidence like knowing you, not the world. Control your attention. That's the key. To control your hands reveal your discipline more than your words ever will. Are you fidgeting? Are you picking up your phone without thinking? Are you touching things mindlessly? Are you scrolling without awareness? These are small actions, tiny leaks, but they drain the strength from your discipline like holes in a ship. You have a choice. Keep leaking energy through unconscious movement, or train your hands to obey your mind. Put your phone face down. Fold your hands when you think. Grip a pen instead of picking up your screen. Place your hands deliberately, not chaotically. Micro-control creates macro strength. When your hands obey you, your life starts to obey you. When your hands stop moving randomly, your thoughts stop spiraling. When your hands stay intentional, your discipline becomes automatic. You don't need more rules, you don't need more apps, you don't need more time management hacks, you need control. Your hands are the first proof of that control. That's the key. 3, control your pace. Your pace, how fast you walk, breathe, speak, and move, is the hidden thermostat of your discipline. People who rush fall apart. People who drag become stagnant. People who move unconsciously stay average. You have a choice. Set your pace. Don't let life set it for you. When someone tries to hurry you, breathe and slow down. When you feel yourself drifting, tighten your tempo. When emotions spike, move with intentional slowness. When laziness creeps in, move with intentional pressure. Your pace is your power. Listen closely. Discipline is not about speed, it's about control. Discipline is not about aggression, it's about intention. Discipline is not about perfection. It's about consistency. Your pace dictates all 3. Walk like you mean something, work like you mean something, rest like you mean something, move with purpose, move with presence, move with ownership. If your body is in chaos, your mind will be too. If your motions are sloppy, your results will be sloppy. If your pace is inconsistent, your life will be inconsistent. You have a choice. Set the pace you want to live and hold it. That's the key. For why micro-control builds macro-discipline, here's the truth people avoid because it feels too simple. If you can't control the small things, you'll never control the big things. If you can't control where your eyes focus, you'll never control your work. If you can't control what your hands grab, you'll never control your habits. If you can't control the pace of your body, you'll never control the pace of your success. Micro-discipline is the foundation of macro-transformation. This is why elite performers, athletes, soldiers, CEOs practice micro-movements. This is why masters of any skill have supreme body control. This is why growth starts with awareness, not ambition. Because discipline isn't built in dramatic moments. It's built in silent ones. It's built in ordinary ones. It's built in the thousands of tiny decisions nobody sees. You have a choice. Wait for a big breakthrough or build discipline in microscopic moments until you don't need breakthroughs anymore. That's the key. 5 practical exercises. Do them today. You want transformation. Then act. Here is what you're going to do starting right now. Exercise A, the eye lock. Pick one object in front of you. Hold your gaze on it for 15 seconds. No wandering, no fidgeting, no distraction, just discipline. Do this 5 times a day. Your focus will sharpen like a blade. Exercise B, the silent hands rule. Sit for 5 minutes with your hands still. No tapping, no scrolling, no adjusting, no nervous movements. Hand still equals mind still. You will feel your inner chaos resisting. That is the point. Exercise C, the controlled pace. Walk for 3 minutes at a consciously chosen pace. Not too fast, not too slow, just intentional. This teaches your nervous system one critical truth. You, not your emotions, are in charge. These are small drills, yes, but small drills build giant discipline. 6. The reward of micro-control. When you master your eyes, hands, and pace, you unlock something rare, something most people never experience. Self-command. Not confidence based on compliments, not self-worth based on achievements, not motivation based on mood, but command, control, inner authority. You walk differently, you speak differently, you act differently. People feel it before you ever say a word, because your discipline stops being something you try to have and becomes something you are. That's the key. You don't need their permission to change. You don't need their approval to grow. You don't need their validation to take control. You just need discipline, and discipline starts small, smaller than you think. Master the micro, the macro will follow. You have a choice. Choose control. Transition to next chapter. You now understand micro control. You've learned to command your eyes, your hands, and your pace. Now you're ready for a deeper level of power, the kind that doesn't come from movement, but from stillness. Chapter 5. Make yourself emotionally predictable. If you want real power, stop being emotionally unpredictable. Stop being the person who reacts to everything. Stop being the person whose mood controls their life. Stop being the person everyone has to handle carefully. You have a choice. Either your emotions run your life or your discipline does. That's the key. Most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they're unpredictable. They wake up different every day. They work only when they feel like it. They communicate based on impulse. They break down at the smallest inconvenience. And then they wonder why they can't build anything stable. You can't build consistency with instability. You can't build strength with chaos. You can't build a future on mood swings. Emotional discipline is not optional. It's foundational. It's the real indicator of maturity, strength, and credibility. You don't need their permission to be steady. You need your own decision. One emotional chaos destroys your credibility. People trust patterns. People rely on consistency. People follow stability. If you're unpredictable, you become forgettable. If you're explosive, you become untrusted. If you're inconsistent, you become replaceable. Think about it. Who gets promoted? Who gets opportunities? Who earns respect? The person who is steady. The person who is controlled. The person who can be counted on every single day, not the person who collapses under pressure, not the person who lashes out, not the person who disappears when stressed. You have a choice. Be the person people depend on or be the person people avoid. Emotional predictability creates silent authority. People trust you without you asking. People listen to you without you demanding. People follow you without you forcing, because stability is rare and discipline is magnetic. That's the key. Too controlled emotion isn't numbness. It's power. Let's be clear. Emotional discipline is not emotional suppression. It's not pretending you don't feel anything. It's not being robotic. It's control. It's the ability to feel deeply but act deliberately. It's the ability to stay calm when others panic. It's the ability to choose your response instead of reacting from instinct. That's the difference between a child and an adult, between an amateur and a professional, between a victim and a leader. It's not about emotion, it's about discipline. Emotions are natural, reactions are optional, responses are chosen. You have a choice. React like everyone else or respond like the person you are trying to become. That's the key. 3. How emotional predictability builds respect. Respect is not something you ask for. Respect is something you become. And you become it by being stable. Your friends trust you more. Your partner feels safer. Your coworkers rely on you. Your family looks up to you. Your future self feels proud of you. Because emotional predictability isn't about others, it's about who you choose to be when pressure hits. Anyone can be calm when life is easy. Discipline shows up when life gets sharp. Real power is staying measured. Real power is staying grounded. Real power is staying consistent. Predictability is not boring. Predictability is strength. Predictability is leadership. That's the key. For the 3 states of emotional unpredictability, there are 3 ways people lose emotional control. Identify which one you fall into, then destroy it. A. The exploder. This person reacts instantly. They don't think. They just detonate. Anger, frustration, defensiveness, outbursts. Their emotions are grenades. Their environment is the battlefield, and afterward, they always regret it. You have a choice. Remember that. Every explosion is a choice you made long before the moment. Be the drifter. This person floats from feeling to feeling. No direction, no discipline, no edge. They wake up tired. They work only when inspired. They avoid hard conversations. They avoid discomfort. Their emotions drag them like a current, and they call it being human. But it's not humanity, it's a lack of command. See, the suppressor. This person avoids emotion entirely, not because they're strong, but because they're afraid. They shut down, they disconnect, they bottle up. They think silence is control. It's not, it's fear, it's avoidance, it's weakness in disguise. Controlled emotion is expressed, not hidden, not dumped, not weaponized, just controlled. That's the key. 5. How to become emotionally predictable. Action. STEPS. Here S where the transformation begins, not in theory, in action. Do these daily. Step 1. Name your state. The moment you feel emotional intensity, stop and ask, what state am I in? Angry, overwhelmed, anxious, frustrated, triggered, tired. Naming breaks impulsive reactions. Naming forces awareness. Naming gives control. Step 2. Slow your pace. Your pace mirrors your emotions. Speed up when stressed, slow down when triggered. Breathe slower, walk slower, speak slower. This interrupts emotional momentum. This gives your brain space. This gives your discipline room to act. You have a choice. Don't rush. Control the pace. Step 3. Choose the response. Tell yourself one simple sentence. I don't react, I respond. You choose your words. You choose your tone, you choose your timing, you choose your action. The moment you choose, you reclaim power. Step 4. Repeat the pattern daily. Predictability comes from repetition, from drilling calmness, from practicing consistency. You don't become disciplined one day at a time. You become disciplined one moment at a time. That's the key. 6. The real reason emotional predictability matters. Emotional discipline protects your future. It protects your relationships. It protects your reputation. It protects your goals. It protects your peace. You can't build anything lasting if you're emotionally unstable. You can't grow when mood is your master. You can't evolve when impulse controls you. People don't fear the loud. People fear the consistent. People don't follow the emotional. People follow the grounded. People don't respect the unpredictable. People respect the disciplined. You have a choice. Become predictable in your strength. Become reliable in your calm. Become steady in your intensity. When people know how you will respond, they trust you. When you know how you will respond, you transform. That's the key. Transition to next chapter. You've learned how to discipline your emotional world. You've learned to eliminate chaos and choose control. Now it's time to expand that stability into your identity, the person you are when no one is watching. Chapter 6. Build daily rituals that shape your aura. Your habits design your energy. Your rituals design your presence. Your structure designs the way people feel around you. This is not about productivity. This is not about being a morning person. This is about aura. This is about presence. This is about the invisible authority you carry without speaking a word. Your rituals create your reputation. Remember that, because it's true. A chaotic person radiates chaos. A disciplined person radiates discipline. A centered person radiates power. A lost person radiates confusion. People feel you before they hear you. They sense your internal order or your internal mess. They sense your discipline or your impulsiveness. They sense your structure or your instability. You have a choice. You can design your aura intentionally, or you can let your inconsistency design it for you. That's the key. Your aura is not mystical. It's mechanical. People talk about aura like it's magic. It's not magic, it's maintenance, it's daily structure, it's consistent rituals that shape your inner world. Someone who wakes up with intention feels different. Someone who wakes up with chaos feels different. Someone who ends their night with clarity feels different. Someone who ends their night with distraction feels different. You can tell. Everyone can tell. Your aura is built, not born. It is the accumulated energy of thousands of repeated moments. It is the result of the routines you keep when nobody is watching. Your rituals create your reputation, because rituals create identity. A person without rituals is a person without self-direction. They drift, they react, they improvise, they hope the day goes well, but they don't create anything intentionally, and the world can sense it. When your internal world is unpredictable, your external presence is weak. When your internal world is structured, your external presence is strong. You have a choice. Choose structure. 2 morning rituals. How you start determines how you show up. Your morning is the ignition switch of your identity. It tells your brain who you are becoming before you even speak. Most people wake up like they were thrown into the day. No order, no intention, no mental sharpening, and their energy reflects it. A strong morning ritual makes you calm. It makes you grounded. It makes you composed, even if it's simple, even if it's short, even if it's just 10 minutes of discipline. It's not about the ritual itself. It's about the message you send yourself. I run my life does not run me. Lead the day does not drag me. I choose discipline, indiscipline does not choose me. That's the key. Your morning rituals might look like a silent 2-minute breath before touching your phone, a short walk to center your mind, a 5-minute journaling check-in, stretching, cleaning, or reviewing your top intentions. Whatever the routine is, it must do one thing: create internal order, because internal order becomes external power. Your rituals create your reputation every single morning. 3 midday rituals. Discipline. When energy drops, people fall apart in the middle of the day. Their focus dips. Their emotions rise. Their discipline weakens. This is why midday rituals matter. This is why you need a midday reset. This is why aura isn't just built at sunrise, it's built at noon. A strong midday ritual might be a pause to breathe before reacting, a short walk to reset your mental pace, a 2-minute check-in. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? Detoxing from noise, turning your phone face down, a deliberate silence break. These small resets keep you composed, they keep you measured, they keep you emotionally predictable. People with rituals radiate control. People without rituals radiate confusion. Your rituals create your reputation. Your discipline creates your energy. Your consistency creates your aura. You have a choice. Strengthen these routines or stay at the mercy of your mood. That's the key. 4 evening rituals. Where your next day is born, your evening determines your next morning. Your mind doesn't reset, it carries everything forward. Most people end their day with noise, scrolling, comparing, consuming, avoiding silence, and then they wonder why they feel empty the next day. Your evening ritual must do one thing: clear the mental clutter. A strong evening ritual might include reviewing the day without judgment, just clarity, setting intentions for tomorrow, tidying your space for morning control, writing a single sentence: here is who I am becoming, giving your brain closure instead of chaos, because when your night ends with order, your day begins with order. Your rituals create your reputation, even when nobody sees them, especially when nobody sees them. 5. How ritualized living changes your presence in a room. People can tell when you have rituals. They feel it. The way you walk in, the way you sit, the way you speak, the way you move. The way your face carries calm. Someone with rituals radiates deliberate energy. Someone without rituals shows signs of internal noise. Life becomes smoother, conversations become easier, your reactions become controlled, your mood becomes stable, your presence becomes consistent, your aura is no longer shaky, your aura becomes a force. And here's the truth: most people want this kind of presence. Very few want to work for it, but you're not most people. You have a choice. Create your aura intentionally. That's the key. 6. The rituals you keep are the future you build. If you want a better life, don't wait for motivation. Build rituals. If you want a stronger identity, don't wait for confidence. Build rituals. If you want a more powerful presence, don't wait for approval. Build rituals. Your rituals create your reputation. Your rituals create your identity. Your rituals create your future. Transformation isn't big. Transformation is small things repeated daily. Small moments of discipline, small moments of intention, small moments of structure. That's what powerful people do. That's what silent leaders do. That's what attractive, composed individuals do. Ritual, routine, repetition. You don't need permission. You need commitment. Your aura is a product of your habits. Change the habits and the aura changes. Transition to next chapter. You've built rituals that strengthen your internal world. You've created structure that sharpens your aura. Now it's time to master the next level: how you communicate without noise, without excess, and without weakness. Chapter 7. Learn the social skill of controlled detachment. There is a social skill most people never master. A skill that separates the calm from the chaotic, the attractive from the needy, the centered from the attached. It's controlled detachment, not coldness, not distance, not emotional shutdown. Controlled detachment. Detached, not distant. This is the discipline of not reacting immediately, not chasing validation, not falling into emotional traps, not giving your power to people who haven't earned it. Because here's the truth: people don't chase desperation. People chase composure, people chase independence, people chase the person who doesn't need chasing. You have a choice. You can be in control of your energy, or you can hand it to anyone who texts you, triggers you, or tempts you. That's the key. One, controlled detachment is not rudeness. It's self-respect, let's be clear. Controlled detachment is not cruelty. It's not ignoring the people you love. It's not acting superior. It's choosing not to be emotionally hijacked. Detached, not distant. It means you can care without collapsing. You can be present without clinging. You can engage without losing yourself. When you practice controlled detachment, you don't respond to pressure instantly. You don't panic when someone pulls back. You don't break down when things shift unexpectedly. You don't interpret every silence as rejection. You hold your center. That's the key. And people feel that difference instantly, because stability is attractive. Independence is attractive. Non-reactivity is attractive, not because it's a tactic, but because it signals emotional maturity. You don't need their permission to be calm. You don't need their attention to feel valuable. You don't need constant reassurance to feel grounded. Detached, not distant. 2. The psychology of why detachment attracts people are drawn to strength. Not loudness, not drama, not over-explaining, not emotional intensity. Strength. And controlled detachment signals strength in 3 ways. A. It shows you have options. Someone who responds instantly to everything looks available to everyone. Someone who responds deliberately looks like they have a life. Because they do. When people sense you're not starving for attention, your value rises instantly. Detached, not distant. B. It shows you're emotionally mature. Anyone can react. Anyone can panic. Anyone can grab, cling, or chase. Few can pause. Few can breathe. Few can choose. Controlled detachment tells the world, I'm responsible for my emotions. You're responsible for yours. That's attractive. That's rare. That's power. See, it creates psychological space. People need space to value you, space to think about you, space to wonder about you, space to feel your absence. If you're always available, you rob them of that space. Controlled detachment gives them room to reach toward you. Absence creates desire. Silence creates curiosity. Independence creates gravity. Detached, not distant. 3. How over-attachment kills your presence. Most people don't struggle with love. They struggle with attachment. They struggle with emotional hunger. They struggle with the need to be needed. And it shows. It leaks into their texts, their tone, their reactions. They reply instantly even when busy. They obsess when someone pulls away. They panic when someone goes quiet. They spin stories in their head. They check their phone with anxiety. They shape-shift to please. Here's the brutal truth. Over-attachment is not love, it's insecurity in disguise. It's not loyalty, it's self-abandonment. It's not connection, it's dependence. You have a choice. You can keep reacting out of fear, or you can build a presence born from discipline. Detached, not distant. 4. How to develop controlled detachment. Action STEPS. Controlled detachment is a skill, a trained response, a muscle you build with repetition. Here are the steps to master it. Step 1. Delay your first reaction. Not every text needs an instant reply. Not every comment needs an instant response. Not every emotion needs instant expression. Create a pause, a few minutes, a breath, a moment. This pause becomes your power. It tells your mind, I choose my response, not impulse. Not insecurity, not fear. Detached, not distant. Step 2, stop interpreting silence. Emotionally, silence does not mean rejection. Distance does not mean disrespect. Space does not mean abandonment. Silence often means someone is living their life. Don't romanticize it. Don't catastrophize it. Don't turn it into a story. Control the narrative in your own mind. If you assume the worst, you react like the worst. If you assume neutrality, you respond with strength. Detached, not distant. Step 3, build a life outside your attachments. People become overly attached because they have nothing else to lean on. Your work, your goals, your training, your hobbies, your discipline, your solitude, these are anchors. The more you build your life, the less you crumble when people drift in and out. The more grounded you are, the more attractive you become. Detached, not distant. Step 4, regulate your emotional intensity. Intensity pushes people away. Consistency pulls people in. Control your tone. Control your pace. Control your emotional output. Don't over-explain, don't overshare, don't over-invest in the early stages of any relationship. Give energy consciously, not desperately. Detached, not distant. Step 5, maintain internal peace regardless of external behavior. Master this one and you become unshakable. My peace is mine. Nobody can take it. Not a cold text, not a delayed reply, not a shift in tone, not a moment of distance. You stay grounded. You stay steady. You stay centered, detached, not distant. 5, the silent power of not being easily moved. People feel it when you're grounded. They feel it when you're composed. They feel it when you're not easily shaken. Controlled detachment makes you magnetic, not because you're playing games, but because you're playing your role as a mature, stable human being. This is the kind of presence people trust. This is the kind of presence people follow. This is the kind of presence people remember. When you're not easy to destabilize, you become deeply attractive. When your emotions are steady, your identity becomes strong. When your identity is strong, your presence becomes powerful. Detached, not distant. You are not cold. You are controlled. You are not unavailable. You are selective. You are not heartless. You are grounded. You have a choice. Choose inner stability over external approval. Choose discipline over reactivity. Choose controlled detachment over emotional chaos. That's the key. Transition to next chapter. You've learned how to detach without disconnecting. You've learned how to stay emotionally centered, calm, and grounded. Now it's time to master the next layer of social authority, the body language that speaks louder than anything you could ever say. Chapter 8. Give minimal reactions to maximize mystery. People reveal too much, and they reveal it too quickly. Most people don't understand this simple truth. Your reaction is your broadcast. And every time you overreact, every time you explode, every time you rush to respond, you tell the world exactly who you are, what you fear, what you crave, and what you can be controlled by. But when you learn to respond minimally, you flip the entire dynamic. You create mystery, you create gravity, you create an energy people can't decode, and that's why they lean in. Remember the phrase, react less, command more, that's the key. And yes, you have a choice. Most people move through life like open books. They show everything on their face. They show everything in their voice. They show everything in their emotions. They collapse under pressure, rise under praise, and dance under validation. But attractive people, powerful people, disciplined people, they operate differently. They don't hide, they hold. Let me say that again, undisciplined people hide. Disciplined people hold. A minimal reaction is not fake, it's controlled, it's intentional, it's strength. You don't flinch, you don't break character. You don't leak emotional information like a busted pipe. You observe, you absorb, you stay rooted, react less, command more. That's the key. Think about someone truly confident. Think about someone who knows who they are. Think about someone who has nothing to prove. When they receive praise, what do? They nod, maybe smile slightly, maybe say thank you. That's it. No jumping, no over-celebration, no desperate, really, you think so. No self-deprecating scramble. Just poise. Because they don't need external confirmation to feel whole. Because they don't need the world's applause to validate their direction. React less, command more, now flip it. When a confident person receives criticism, what do? Same thing, they nod, they assess, they stay grounded, they don't explode, they don't crumble, they don't beg for approval. They don't weaponize emotion to escape discomfort. They maintain their frame. That's the word, frame. And here's a truth most people don't understand. The person who holds the frame controls the dynamic. That's why minimal reactions are powerful. It's not about acting cool. It's about holding the frame, holding the energy, holding your internal state when everyone else is losing theirs. That's discipline. And that discipline creates mystery. Let's talk mystery because people misunderstand it. Mystery is not acting distant. Mystery is not being cold. Mystery is not disappearing for days with no purpose. Mystery is emotional control. Mystery is the gap between what you feel and what you show. Mystery is your ability to stay composed even when everything around you is pulling for a reaction. Mystery is the space you create by not exposing your personal motivations too quickly. That's the key. That's the power. And again, you have a choice. Let's go deeper. When you overreact, you give people your triggers, your weaknesses, your insecurities, your desperation, your emotional hunger, your need for approval. You hand them the map to your identity. But when you master minimal reactions, you flip the script. People can't read you. People can't predict you. People can't categorize you. And that's when people chase you, because humans are addicted to what they can't fully understand. This is why a calm, composed person stands out in a noisy world. When everyone else is yelling, you whisper. When everyone else is craving attention, you remain centered. When everyone else is performing, you stay grounded, react less. Command more. Say it again in your head, react less, command more. Here's the part most people never learn. Minimal reaction does not mean minimal emotion. You're not a robot. You're not suppressing yourself. You're channeling yourself. You are choosing which emotions deserve expression and which emotions need discipline. You are becoming selective. And selective people are powerful. Selective people are respected because selective people signal self-mastery. When you speak less, your words hit harder. When you react less, your presence feels stronger. When you reveal less, your mystery becomes magnetic. This is why the most composed people in any room control that room. They don't dominate with volume. They dominate with presence. They don't need to impress. They don't need to perform. They don't need to prove anything. Their silence becomes a statement. Their calmness becomes a message. Their minimal reaction becomes a signature, and people remember signatures. People study signatures. People respect signatures. Now it's time for the behavioral instruction, what you must change starting today. 1. Stop narrating your emotions. You don't need to announce your stress, annoyance, or excitement. Hold it. Breathe through it. 2. Practice neutral responses, not cold, neutral. A simple all right. A simple nod. A simple exhale. This trains your nervous system. 3. Delay your reaction by 2 seconds. That small pause is your power. That pause gives you control. That pause breaks old patterns. 4. Speak slower. Fast talk feels nervous. Calm talk feels commanding. Your pacing is part of your presence. 5. Stop rewarding people with instant emotional access. Not everyone deserves to know what you feel. Not everyone earns that privilege. Not everyone gets the backstage pass to your inner world. You have a choice. And your discipline determines your impact. React less, command more, say it again. Say it until it becomes your instinct. React less, command more. Here's the truth you must accept. Your overreactions have cost you relationships. They've cost you respect. They've cost you power. They've cost you peace. But minimal reactions will rebuild all of that. This chapter isn't about becoming passive. It's about becoming powerful. It's about becoming intentional. It's about mastering the space between stimulus and response. That's where confidence lives. That's where charisma lives. That's where mystery lives. You don't need their permission. You don't need their validation. You only need discipline, and that's the key. You've now learned how to hold your frame. You've learned how to use silence as strength. You've learned how minimal reaction creates maximum presence. Now it's time to elevate your life even further, because there's something more powerful than mystery, your time. And most people waste it. So let's take back control of the most valuable currency you have. Chapter 9, keep your improvements private until they're visible. There is one rule every powerful person learns at some point in their life. Don't announce the work. Announce the results. Most people make the mistake of narrating their growth instead of living it. They post every workout. They brag about every book. They talk endlessly about big things coming soon. They broadcast their potential because they're addicted to validation. But the people who truly rise, they grow in silence. They evolve off camera. They transform where nobody is watching. Then they reappear new, improved, undeniable, and the world has no choice but to take notice. Remember the phrase, grow quietly, arrive loudly. That's the key. And yes, you have a choice. You don't need to share every step. You don't need to update every stranger. You don't need applause for the process. Here's the truth. When you talk too much about your goals, your brain feels rewarded and you lose the hunger needed to actually achieve them. That early praise kills momentum. That early attention kills discipline. That premature validation kills the edge you need. You think you're building accountability, but you're actually building an audience. And audiences don't build discipline, work does. Grow quietly. Arrive loudly. Let's make this even clearer. There is a difference between improving and performing. Performing improvement is what most people do. Posting gym selfies, updating every habit streak, announcing every plan, telling people what you're about to do, broadcasting every tiny step. Improving is different. Improving means showing up, doing the work, staying consistent, keeping your head down, building discipline without applause. Improving requires depth. Performing improvement requires attention. You choose which path you take. Grow quietly. Arrive loudly. Here's why private growth is so powerful. When you disappear, people assume nothing is happening. But when you reappear changed, sharper, calmer, stronger, you create shock waves. People don't expect it, people can't predict it, and people can't deny it. This element of surprise amplifies your transformation. The silent worker becomes the person everyone suddenly pays attention to, not because they demanded it, but because they earned it. That's the key. There's a psychology behind this. When people see you improving publicly, many react with insecurity or jealousy. They may subtly discourage you. They may downplay your progress. They may distract you because your growth makes them uncomfortable. But when you grow privately, nobody interferes. Nobody disrupts your momentum. Nobody gets in your way. Most people don't realize how much outside opinions slow them down. Silence protects you. Privacy protects you. Limited visibility protects you. You don't need their permission. You don't need their feedback. You need discipline. Grow quietly. Arrive loudly. Let's talk real-world examples. Think about the friend who disappears for 3 months. No explanations, no announcements, no dramatic speeches. Then one day they walk into a room, leaner, stronger, clear-skinned, dressed better, moving with confidence, speaking with clarity. Everyone is stunned. That's impact. That's power. That's the effect of silent growth. Contrast that with the person who posts every rep, every shake, every grind, never stops. Quote, people get tired of them. They stop paying attention. Their progress becomes background noise. Why? Because constant updates kill the element of surprise. Let me repeat this. Transformation is most powerful when it arrives unexpectedly. Grow quietly. Arrive loudly. Now let's break down why silence accelerates transformation. One, silence reduces pressure. When you stop announcing your goals, you stop worrying about how fast others expect you to move. Less pressure equals more focus. 2, silence eliminates competition. You're no longer comparing your progress to someone else's timeline. You move at your pace. 3, silence builds authenticity. You're doing the work because you want to, not because you want praise. 4, silence strengthens identity. The moment you stop performing for the world, you start shaping the real you. 5, silence keeps doubters out. People can't sabotage what they don't know. That's the key. Now here are your behavioral instructions, what you must start practicing immediately. 1, stop announcing new goals. Announce completed milestones only. Let the work speak when it's done. 2, cut your posting in half. If you feel the urge to show progress, don't. Sit with the discipline instead. 3, build in a private space, a journal, a private folder, notes nobody sees. Your growth belongs to you before it belongs to the world. 4, track your habits silently. No streaks, no public declarations. Real consistency doesn't need an audience. 5, disappear for a season, not from life, from noise. Carve out weeks or months where your only focus is improvement. And when the results come, they will speak. Loudly, clearly, undeniably. Grow quietly. Arrive loudly. Understand this. Your future doesn't need promotion. It needs execution. Your growth doesn't need attention. It needs repetition. Your transformation doesn't need witnesses. It needs discipline. This chapter is about reclaiming the power of private evolution. This chapter is about earning respect through results, not announcements. This chapter is about building silently so you can return unrecognizable. That's the key. You have a choice, and your choice determines your future. Grow quietly, arrive loudly. You've learned how silence sharpens transformation. You've learned how privacy protects your progress. You've learned why improvement hits harder when it's revealed, not advertised. Now it's time to take the next step, a step people often ignore, controlling the environment where your discipline lives, because growth needs protection. And that protection comes from the people you allow or don't allow into your life. So let's go deeper. Chapter 10. Let your standards speak for you. Most people waste their entire lives trying to convince others to treat them better. They argue, they explain, they beg. They overtalk, they try to prove their worth to people who had no intention of respecting them in the first place. But attractive people, powerful people, disciplined people, they know a different truth. You don't teach people how to treat you with words. You teach them with standards. Your standards determine who stays. Your standards determine who leaves. Your standards determine what you accept, what you reject, and what you refuse to entertain. Say it with me. Your standards are your broadcast. That's the key. And yes, you have a choice. People think attraction is about personality. It's not. People think respect is about charisma. It's not. Attraction comes from boundaries. Respect comes from consistency. Power comes from standards. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to be dramatic. You don't need to force anything. Just hold your standards. That's it. Because when you stop tolerating disrespect, when you stop rewarding chaos, when you stop entertaining people who drain you, when you stop accepting inconsistency as normal, your presence shifts. People feel it. People notice it. People adjust to it. Because standards create gravity. Standards create clarity. Standards create the silent attractiveness most people will never understand. Your standards are your broadcast. Here's the mistake most people make. They think walking away is weakness. They think silence is surrender. They think refusing to argue means they lost. No, that's not how power works. The person who argues is emotionally trapped. The person who chases is emotionally dependent. The person who begs is emotionally empty. But the person who calmly walks away, that's the person everyone remembers. That's the person everyone respects. That's the person everyone rethinks. Walking away is not running away. Walking away is choosing peace over chaos. Walking away is choosing self-respect over validation. Walking away is choosing discipline over reaction. And discipline is attractive. Restraint is attractive. Boundaries are attractive. Your standards are your broadcast. Let me paint you a picture. Two people get disrespected. One explodes. They argue. They lecture. They try to fix the disrespect through noise. The other says nothing. They look once. They assess the behavior, and they walk away. Guess which one leaves an impact? Always the calm one. Always the composed one. Always the person whose standards speak louder than their emotions. People expect emotional responses. They expect chaos. They expect reactivity. They do not expect boundaries. They do not expect self-control. They do not expect someone willing to walk away with dignity, and that unexpected strength creates silent attractiveness. Your standards are your broadcast. When you raise your standards, something interesting happens. People either rise to meet them or fall out of your life naturally. You don't need to force anything. You don't need to argue with anyone. You don't need to prove your point. People reveal themselves when your standards tighten. Some will respect you more. Some will distance themselves. Some will get uncomfortable. Let them. Because every person who leaves your life when you raise your standards was only surviving off your lack of them. Let me repeat that. Anyone who leaves your life when you raise your standards was only surviving because you didn't have any. Your standards filter your circle better than any conversation ever could. Your standards are your broadcast. Let's talk behaviors now, what you must immediately start doing. 1. Stop explaining your boundaries. You don't need to write essays. You don't need to justify your decisions. You don't need to convince anyone. A boundary explained too much becomes a negotiation. Hold it, that's it. 2. Stop tolerating inconsistent behavior. If someone shows you effort only when it benefits them, distance yourself. Inconsistency is disrespect in slow motion. 3. Stop rewarding low effort. People rise when effort is required. People fall when effort is optional. Your standards decide which future you get. 4. Stop accepting chaos as normal. If someone constantly brings disorder into your life, emotionally, financially, mentally, you don't need to fix it. You need to step back. 5. Stop engaging with disrespect. Silence is not weakness. Silence is clarity. Silence is separation. A disrespectful person deserves no explanation, only distance. Your standards are your broadcast. There is something magnetic about a person who refuses to entertain nonsense. A person who guards their peace, a person who values themselves, a person who doesn't negotiate with low-quality behavior. That person stands out. That person is respected. That person becomes unforgettable. Why? Because most people tolerate too much. Most people accept too little. Most people are terrified of losing others, even if those others are draining them. But when you raise your standards, you stop fearing loss and start valuing your life. And that shift changes everything. It changes how you walk. It changes how you speak. It changes how people treat you. People treat you the way you treat yourself. If you value yourself, they value you. If you respect yourself, they respect you. If you hold your standards, they adjust to them. That's the key. Your standards are your broadcast. This chapter is not about being better than anyone. It's about being better to yourself. It's not about being cold. It's about being clear. It's not about pushing people away. It's about pulling the right people in. When you stop tolerating disrespect, low effort, and inconsistency, you create room for the relationships and opportunities you actually deserve. But you have to choose it. You have to protect it. You have to believe you're worth it. And you are. Your standards anchor your identity. Your standards define your presence. Your standards shape your reputation. And remember, your standards speak louder than any speech ever could. Your standards are your broadcast. You've now learned the power of boundaries. You've learned how discipline shapes attraction. You've learned how standards create silent gravity. Now it's time to talk about something just as important, your environment. Because even the strongest person collapses in the wrong environment and thrives in the right one. You mastered your standards. Now master your surroundings. Everything you want, respect, attraction, presence, begins in silence. Not the silence of weakness, but the silence of self-control. The silence of someone who knows who they are, who doesn't need applause, who doesn't need attention to stay committed. Today you learn the truth. Actions echo louder than words, energy speaks before your voice does, and the person who moves with quiet discipline becomes the person everyone feels drawn to without understanding why. So starting tonight, not tomorrow, not next week, begin practicing the habits. Fewer words, more intention, cleaner energy, firmer standards, grow privately, move deliberately. And become the one thing the world cannot ignore, a silently attractive, quietly powerful, unshakable version of yourself. Now go prove it, starting now.